Hey team, welcome to another episode of Badass Unscripted. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a true believer. Listen guys, don't forget to go to badassagile.com and sign up for my weekly newsletter. I promise not to spam you. I promise not to abuse the privilege. But I love to be able to reach out to you when I've got something valuable to share. Now listen, this week I want to narrow our focus to one of the main causes of Agile failure. That's what happens when your organizational values don't match Agile values. So let's imagine as Agilists that we value things like open and transparent communication, pushing decisions down, autonomous, non-hierarchical teams, face-to-face communication, focus, working on the most valuable things first. If those are the things we value as Agilists, but as an organization, we don't value those things, guess what? They're not going to happen. So Agile fails to thrive because the very values that it depends on don't exist in the ecosystem. So let's zoom in on what that means. If you have no living example of flat teams or open communication, then people have nothing to model themselves on. Worse still, if you do have an example, let's say you get yourself a good Agile coach who shows you how to do open communication or shows you how to make decisions in the room, but then that behavior isn't rewarded, or worse, it's admonished, what do you think is going to happen next? Nobody's going to do it. So having no living example to model is problem number one, because the right mindsets and behaviors can never spread. But also, inherent in that, if you're not rewarding and measuring Agile thinking and Agile action, then that too is going to hamper the natural spread of Agile through the organization. And if Agile can't spread to enough people, you're going to keep bumping into people who don't believe the same things you do and people who don't act in a way that meshes or is compatible with the way you want to act. And when that happens, real project failure is bound to occur. So not only do you need living examples of right mindset and right action, you need to actively promote and reward it. And you need to dismantle policies and procedures that do the opposite. Another thing that it's a big symptom of when your organizational values don't match Agile values is, well, if we don't value what Agile values, how did we get Agile in here in the first place? Aha. There's usually a sign that under the hood, someone has simply purchased Agile like it's a tool that you install. And what we really want from becoming Agile is cheaper stuff faster. If you know anything about my work, or any of my fellow Agile thinkers, you'll know that's absolutely the wrong reason, and you're probably going to be disappointed. So until the organization has chosen to adopt agility for the real benefits that it can bring, hopefully reduce risk, happier teams, less waste, better productivity, more value-driven development, then the whole thing just isn't going to fit. But the worst part of having a set of values that don't align to Agile values is that you're inconsistent with your own beliefs. You're in conflict with your own real truth. The things that you actually believe and are prepared to stand behind at an organizational level are not the things that make Agile flow well. And when you're inconsistent with your beliefs, that is to say you want to be Agile and do Agile things, but you act in non-Agile ways, that breaks trust. And if you're an Agile leader and your Agile people don't trust you because the things you say don't match the things that you do, you are never going to have a successful spread of Agile mindsets and habits. And that, my friends, is fatal. Something to think about, guys. That's why it's so important. I mean, if you're asking yourself, listening to this, well, how can I make those changes? How can I get people to adopt Agile ways of thinking and believing? The best favor you can do yourself is start with the willing, but also you have to have the courage to have those conversations with leadership at large. Part of your job as an Agile coach and leader is to make those changes. You have to lead by example. You have to start with small, willing projects and create successes that you can showcase to the non-believers, if we can call them that. Because in the spirit of Agile, we make work visible. We don't talk, we show. If you start there, if you start small, if you start with the willing and create successes, and then apply the courage to have the conversation at a wider and at a higher level, you will eventually change the right minds. But until then, if the organizational values don't match the Agile values, you're going to continue to struggle. Friends, thank you for listening. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. You can find me on Instagram at badassagile and on Twitter at badass_agile, and of course on the web, worldwideweb.badassagile.com. Thank you once again. I look forward to next time, and until then, stay badass.